In my work as a rural chaplain, I'm privileged to speak to people, listen to people a great deal across rural Wales. And the overriding theme at the moment seems to be a terrible lack of hope in people, given changes in the economy, changes in the rural payment scheme, new regulations coming in, and the price pressure that's being put on at the farm gate. But it doesn't just seem to be the farming sector of the economy that's going through this. This is true of rural teachers and rural GPs and doctors and people working in the big hospitals in the biggest of the towns. There's this really pervasive sense of hopelessness running through our society. And just saying to people, cheer up, mate, doesn't cut it. And just denying the realities of the situation in our world and the things that are making us feel grim, that certainly doesn't cut it either. What's needed is a deeper and perhaps a more fundamental analysis of what's going wrong in our world. And that's what this little logo, slogan type thing, this graphic we've got going on is all about. A few little symbols there that get to the heart of the issue from a Christian perspective of hope to be had in a world that's not the way we'd like to see it. So if you're looking out on the world today and you're saying, that's a state, what hope is there when the world's like that? Well, there's a bit of hope starting to be found, would you believe, way back in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, when Noah was a dad, not a lad, but certainly a dad by then, when we're told that God looked down out of heaven and he saw the mess people were making in his earth. Not just the ecology, although that was probably true, but in the economy, dodgy dealings, in the agronomy, exploiting, not looking after and making fruitful the land, definitely in the sociology, by the way people were behaving towards and treating one another. And although at that stage God stepped in to limit the damage, things are pretty much the same. After that, people and the world of his day still had a deep-rooted problem that was causing all these other things that were leaking hope out of the situation. See, the trouble is when people are defining what's good and bad for themselves, each individual making it up as they go along, you end up in a situation of pretty much of total chaos. God's deeper analysis on things way back there in the day of Noah was that the heart of the problem was the problem of the human heart, the thoughts and the inclinations of their hearts always being negative and bad most of the time, it appeared. And the good news in that first little symbol, that arrow pointing down on our diagram, is that God looked down, but he didn't leave it there, because then he came down. One of the most sure and best corroborated facts in human history is the coming of Jesus Christ in the world. He was, and the evidence is there. See, we think of the thoughts of a person's heart as working in the world of ideas, and ideas have power, so books have power. But to change a person's fundamental character and values, it often takes a person to do that. A mentor, an inspiring model of living human life the way it can be, which is a much better way. So, yes, God came among us as a human to show us a better way. God looked down, saw the world and the mess it was, and sent his son to show how the human heart ought to be. And there's a hint already back there with Noah in that time way back that God could intervene and could change human hearts and change the way things were in the world. He sent his son to show us what human life ought to be like, give us some guidance and leadership in the confusing world we're living in, but then actually to put in place the means to effect that change. And that's what our next little video, number 2 in this series, is all about.